I'm very happy to be here actually because destination activities are a big thing right now. People are doing their 100-mile bike rides and their Appalachian Trail hikes, and you have to be prepared for these things. You cannot just jump in and think everything's going to be good, or just maybe doing just weight training or just cardio. Flexibility is what we're going to talk about tonight because, in my opinion, with my 40 years experience, it's where it all starts. Flexibility of your tissues is what's going to help you to get through the activities that you want to do and be able to do them long term without injury. So, of course, we have our bone structure and our posture, which is all very important. But the muscles that attach to that, the connective tissue, the tendons, the ligaments, all of that plays a huge role in how you perform your activity and how well you perform your activity. So let me just get my notes here. When you're doing something like a long bike ride or a hike, it's repetitive stress, right? You're doing the same thing over and over. So if you're riding for like 100 miles on your bike, which is a big thing for a lot of these, or a marathon or anything like that, you're continually doing the same activity over and over. And your tissues respond to that repetitive stress. And what happens is they get thicker, they get tighter to respond to that because your body knows, oh, they need more support in this activity that they're doing. And that change in the tissues because of that repetitive stress then can cause pain and stiffness issues, joint issues, and also changes in posture. If you've done anything like a repetitive job, if you're at a factory or if you're at just sitting at a desk all day and stuff, your body will change and adapt to what you're doing most of the time. Form follows function. So if you're sitting, you're going to be getting tight hip flexors, maybe your head is forward because you're looking at a screen or you're looking down at your phone all the time. And then the tissues adapt to that because they're like, this is what they need, protection in this position. So we want to kind of combat that repetitive stress by making sure that we stay flexible and that we keep the tissues lengthened. And if we keep all those tissues lengthened, then the structure can come into its own. So I gave everybody a handout of what postures look like. The first one is normal or ideal posture, I should say, not normal, because ideal. And then I would say have someone take a picture of you from the front and from the side and take a look at this chart. This is from the side, and it's how therapists, we decide if you have what type of postural asymmetries you have. And then in that little list below that picture that you have there, it's going to show you a laundry list of everything that's wrong. Okay, so if you have tight hamstrings because of this posture, or you have tight chest pectoralis muscles because of that posture. So it'll give you an idea. And just when you get the picture, don't stand up straight and try to just relax. And let someone or have someone catch you not paying attention. That's usually the best thing. If you're standing in your kitchen or if you're, just walking around and they catch you, that's the time to do it because that's most of the time your habitual posture that you're going to be in. Why do we want our muscles to be flexible? Because they're going to respond quicker. When they are nice and flexible, think of like a sponge, a kitchen sponge. If it's dried out, okay, it doesn't move. All right, tissues are the same. Fascia or connective tissue are also in your muscles. That is collagen. Everybody has it. It goes throughout our whole body. It's around every organ, through every muscle, around your bones, everywhere. It's a big system that transfers force throughout our bodies. And because of your repetitive activities, those tissues, like I said, respond. But if they're nice and flexible, they're going to get more circulation, more hydration to the tissues. That's good. So if you have the dry sponge, nothing's happening. If you have the wet sponge and you move it, you get nice flow of fluid through there, right? So you can squeeze it, water comes in, or water goes out, and then you relax the sponge, and then it can absorb more water. So you want those tissues in your body. They're less likely to fray, to rupture. And if you watch the Olympics and you saw Lindsey Vonn's thing that she had, her injury, she's going to be going through a lot of that restructuring of her, not just the structure of the bone that's been rebuilt, but the fascial tissues. She had a fasciotomy, which is they cut that fascia because it was swelling so much and letting that pressure out. But all that fascia and stuff now it needs to heal. So if you have an injury, we are healing fascia, we're healing muscle. So you're less likely to get injured if you have that nice flexible fascia. Again, the proper posture, we're going to go through that. We're going to do a little check on the mat just to see what your posture is today. And maybe when we're stretching, you'll figure out or see areas that maybe are not ideal for you, like maybe one side's a little tighter than the other. Those are your habitual patterns. So maybe it's the way you sit on your couch. Maybe it's the way you stand. You cock your hip to one side all the time. Or you sit on your foot on the couch or in your chair, your favorite chair. You always sit on the same side of your couch. You always sit that way. Tissues then adapt to that habitual pattern. So if you can, if you have people in your life, kids especially now with their phones, I always say this is the way they're going to find us someday. Our posture, when they dig us up and they find our bones, they're going to see our posture. It's going to be like this because it'll adapt eventually. Okay, things change like that when you're in that posture. So watch the people in your life too, to see if they're keeping their posture in good alignment. Kids are, like I said, right now, that's the worst. But when you are, say, on a bike, all right, so if you're out doing your long bike and you're in this position, all right, with the head in this position, all right, and then you go to stand up, oftentimes the heads can stay here. You also get the stress in tightness in through the pecs because you're in this more narrow posture than standing up. So up straight. When you're hiking, you tend to walk, especially going up and down hills, we tend to walk in front of ourselves. So our center of gravity is out here and our posture becomes forward. So we're putting weight on bones and fascia and tissues in positions that aren't meant to have the weight on them. Okay? All the bones in our body are meant to weight bear in certain positions. It's the way we were designed. And when we're out of alignment, just like your car, when it's out of alignment, things wear out. So that's when we start to get the tendinitises and the rotator cuff things and all that going on in our bodies. How often should you stretch? Ideally, and this is how I think it should go for everyone. If you are wanting to do weight training, you're doing something to get yourself stronger for your sport, start with flexibility. Get your muscles at the proper length, get your posture aligned, then strengthen. All right, so when we train in therapy, what we're looking at is we don't just go through a program where we're going to do little pecs, some abs, some quads, some hamstrings. We look at what is out of alignment, we stretch that, then we strengthen once we stretch it. We tighten the back. So example, if our pecs are too tight and we're walking around like this because we've been biking, then I'm going to work on stretching the pectoralis muscles. I'm not going to even work on stretching or strengthening the back until this is opened up. Because it would be a waste of time. It would be a tug of war constantly. So we're going to open this up first, get you back here, and then tighten that up and stretch that. You can still work on other things that are fine. It's just that those areas that are extremely tight, that we want to make sure we get those right first. So that would be the process. And then if you're going to do that, you got to do it a couple times a week for at least 30 minutes. And if you have a really problem spot like the hamstrings, okay, or the hip flexors, those are tough cookies. So you're going to have to do that every day. Those have to be reminded. They're big muscles. They have a really strong memory. So you can stretch them. You'll feel good after class tonight. You go home, and then tomorrow you'll be tight again. Okay? So you have to keep reminding it, because what you're really doing is reforming tissue. You're stretching that connective tissue fascia. You're stretching the muscle, and you're actually tearing some muscle fibers to get the length. And then as you heal, okay, you rip those little muscle fibers like little hairs. They grow back together. Then you stretch them again, make a little tear, it grows back together, and you keep lengthening the muscle. So that is how we are reforming things. And if you're on, your big day out, or you have a weekend that you're doing like, camping, hiking thing, in the evening, after you're done, is your time to do your recovery stretches. So if you've been doing something repetitively, get to your campsite. We're going to use a chair and a mat tonight, because you can either sit at a chair at your campsite or at a picnic table or something that's one of the campsite picnic tables. I'm going to do the stretches. And then the only tools that you really need that are easy to throw in a backpack is a yoga strap, or if you have a belt with you, you can just use your belt. If it's long enough, we want a nice long strap. And then I have tennis balls here that are in it's a stockinette, but you can put them in an old sock or stocking or something. And it's just to keep them from rolling all over the place. Okay, you're going to use 2 tennis balls, and we're going to kind of massage and get into some tissues that maybe you overworked through the day. All right, so easy to do, portable. I always tell people in my classes that if you're going on vacation and you're going to be doing a lot of things, take a couple little things with you that you can use to recover, even if you're on an airplane or something too, and doing that. So that's my quick little talk, so then now we can get into stretching, because that's what we really wanted to do, right? Everybody, that's why you came out in the rain to do all this. Let me just put this aside. I have 3 books that I have out. Some of the stretching that we're going to do tonight is similar, but it's called On a Roll at Home is the name of my book. It's a foam rolling exercise book. You're not going to take your foam roller with you, although I have had people that were kayaking put their foam rollers on their backpacks, and afterwards, that evening, after kayaking all day, this was in Puget Sound, they did foam rolling at their campsite. And I told them they could also use it as a flotation device. So that's always a good thing too. They do sell small foam rollers, but so I have those books here tonight if you're interested in that. My other book is called Age Perfected Pilates, and that's a book with modifications for Pilates, and that's a more strengthening, core strengthening exercise, and it's modified, so if you have any problems like rotator cuff or joint replacement or back problems, you can do the Pilates program and not worry about hurting yourself. So, all right, so let's start. We're going to start sitting in the chair and just sitting up nice and tall. And I just want you, I usually do the posture assessment, and I have you lay down on the floor. So if you're at home and you want to kind of check your posture, you can do it that way. But you can also do it sitting here. And just close your eyes and feel, how you feel sitting. Where you feel the weight in the chair. Where you feel, how your body just feels overall. And start at your head and feel, like, where is your head in space? Do you feel like the head is in front of your spine, right on top of your spine? It's rarely behind your spine, okay? It's really, you're not like looking up at the ceiling. Most people are in front of, okay? And then also feel like from side to side, like how do you feel? Do you feel like you're looking straight ahead when you're relaxing? Or do you feel like maybe the head's turned a little bit? Because sometimes because of our postural habits, we can feel like the head's turned just a tiny bit one way or the other. And then go down to your shoulders and just notice how your shoulders feel. Do you feel like maybe one's in front of the other? Do you feel like they're kind of rounded forward? Do you feel like tension in the shoulders on one side or the other? And then the upper back, because this goes hand in hand. If we're tight here, we're usually lengthened in the back, it's stretched out, there's usually tension there. So just kind of, sense how does that feel? Because hopefully afterwards you're going to feel a little bit different, maybe a little bit better. Go down to your low back and then feel, how's your low back feel? Do you feel like you want to sit back in the chair and kind of slump back? Or is it natural for you to sit up straight with your back kind of pulled away from the chair? Again, that tells you a little bit about your postural habits and what you would do, like maybe if you were at work or if you were in a car for a long time, driving to your destination to do. And then same thing, if you were a cycler and you are rounded forward over, you're going to feel comfortable in this position, in this rounded forward position, because that's your position of comfort and position of strength, because that's what you're doing repeatedly. That's not the best position. We want a nice natural, if you look at that, the nice inward curve of your lumbar spine. And then feel like your booty on the chair. And where do you feel like, does it feel even across? Or do you feel like you have more pressure on one side than the other? Do you feel like maybe it's just uncomfortable to just sit in this chair? I mean, this is a plastic chair. It's not our cozy chairs at home. How does that feel? If you were doing the same posture assessment on the ground, you would go through the same thing. Start at your head, go all the way down your back. Notice how it feels laying on the floor. And then into your legs. How do your legs feel? Do you feel like your feet flat on the floor? Do you feel like you want to turn out and just relax your legs? All of those same things. Those rest positions, or our comfort positions, are what we typically are in most of the time. That's what we'll navigate to, just naturally, okay? So we're gonna start at our head and work our way down, starting with our neck, because the head is about 10 to 14 pound ball on a flexible stick. And we have to hold it up. And these muscles take in a lot of tension, especially again, if you are cycling, or if you're hiking, because you're forward as you're going, if you're going up hills. And even when, especially if you have something on your back and you're carrying something heavy, a backpack or something, you're gonna adjust to, because you're not used to that load unless you're doing it all the time. And I would suggest training with that if you're going to do something like that. Walk through your neighborhood with a backpack with some weights in it or something, and go up and down some hills. So, all right, so let's just start at the head. You're going to make sure that the base of your head is over your sacrum, over your tailbone, and just let your head fall to the side. Most of the time when people do this stretch, they think, say, ear to the shoulder. Don't think that. Think this ear to the ceiling, and see if you feel the difference in just changing your perception or the cueing from that, because cueing is big. I can tell you, and I mentioned this in my class the other day, don't sit on that seat or pretend you're sitting on a dirty toilet seat. You'll know exactly what position to get in to make that happen, all right? And if I'm telling you here, reach your ear to the ceiling, you're gonna feel that differently than if I say take this ear to your shoulder, right? So feel that length. Cueing is very important, so when we do cues, you can get different responses from people for that. And I want you to feel like this shoulder here is just dropping down, and you can let that arm just kind of hang down by your side and use it as a weight. And then we're going to use our breath, because when we stretch, we have to use breath. Because as you inhale, you get that stretch. And as you exhale, it softens, right? And because the head is a weight, this is stretching this muscle. Try not to, put overpressure on if you're doing a stretch, especially to the head and neck. It's very fragile. The vertebrae are very small. The discs are very fragile as there as well. Bring it back up, and then just notice how that feels. Sometimes you get a rebound, so you'll feel a little bounce back. And then you're going to go to the other side. Notice, what I want you to do tonight every time we do a different side is compare sides, okay? Because this side for me is tighter. I feel that when I take my head this way, there's a little bit more tension in my upper shoulder here. I'm right-handed. So I'm, of course, using this hand more. I do a lot of crafting and stuff. So this side always tends to be a little tight for me, which is why I need to do regular flexibility. And again, you're taking a breath into the neck. And we use breath, again, to direct it to the area we're stretching. And then come back to center. Just feel that head come right back on top of the body. It's got to kind of be balanced there. And then we do that again. We're going to go to the side. And this side, we're going to add on to it. You're going to kind of reach down and grab that leg of your chair and then look up towards the ceiling. And take a breath. We're stretching now. We're getting more into the front part of the neck here, which tends to be really tight if you are posturally challenged. And truthfully, I don't know anybody who isn't right now, because we are always on our devices. So this is a good one. You start to feel that you're getting headaches or jaw pain or any of that. You clench your teeth at night. Bring it back to center. That one tends to be a little bit more woo, so if you feel a little woozy, that's okay. You're stretching vessels as well. Grab the leg of the chair, take your head to the side or to the other side, and then you're just going to look up. Again, compare sides. Just take a big breath. Notice when you are stretching, where do you feel the tension more? I mean, this is a neck stretch, but with fascia, it connects throughout the whole body, the connective tissue. So you may feel it, maybe down by your shoulder. You may feel it into your chest. I always tell people, we're coming back to center, it's like if you had your shirt tucked in wrong, okay, fascia's like that, and I'm pulling here, I'm going to feel that all through here, even though I'm connecting it down here, okay? It's like if you put your socks on and they're twisted. You feel that because and you're going to continue, it's going to irritate you all day until you fix it, okay? All right, sitting up nice and tall. Let's do some rotation here. So you're just going to look to the side, and you're going to take a nice big breath in, and exhale. See how far you can look behind you. We're going to do a little test. So just look first. Notice where your gaze stops. Notice how the tension, how it feels, the quality of movement. And then bring it back to center. Let's go the other way. Again, notice which side. Nice deep breaths. We rarely focus on breath throughout the day because it's automatic. But intentional breath can really help with, getting the body to calm itself and for that oxygenation to the tissues. All right, now, you're going to take your hands and you're going to put them on your face like you're home alone, okay? So right here, and you're going to just kind of lock your arms down. And we're going to sit up nice and tall, and we're going to go just to the right, and you're not going to let your head move. You're going to twist from the waist. So you're going to go 5 times nice and slow. I'm going to my right, and then I'm just going to come back to center and stop. And then we do it another time. Come back to center. And this is slow. You can do like 5 to 8 of these. We're just going to do 5 tonight because, trying to get all the stretches in. And one more time. Exhale. Now this is a little trick, and now take your hands down. And I want you to look the way you were going, so I'm going to my right, and see if you can turn your head further. Can you? Do you notice the difference? Okay. So this is a little trick to the brain. If you have neck pain, or if, say, your neck is really stiff from riding all day, or jogging, or any of those kind of things, and we don't really want to move because it hurts, we didn't move the head. We moved the torso. But see, the brain doesn't know that. We're tricking the brain. And so, did you get more movement when you were doing that? So that we can actually get more movement without causing stress to a tissue that's maybe already stressed. Okay, so let's do that again. We'll go the other way this time. So you take a nice big breath in. And as you exhale, a nice little rotation. This is a fun party trick. So you can show your friends. This is not a good look. So don't post this picture. Exhale. And exhale. And then we do it just on one side first because, you want to, we're focusing that the brain gets that message 4 or 5 times, or 6 or 8 times, how many times you want to do it. And then again, take your head around. Now I can see a lot farther back on this side from me after that side. This side is still, because this side, since my right side is always tight, when I loosen, now I'm going to be able to go further to the left because there's more length here. Okay, so hopefully you notice some change there. If you have neck problems, that's really a nice one to do. Okay, let's do our, grab your strap. Now these are 8-foot straps. If you're going to buy a strap, I recommend you don't buy one with a plastic buckle on it, because especially if you're traveling with it and stuff too, it can get broken. Can get broken. Buy the metal D-rings. This is an 8-foot, like I said, and that you can do a lot of stuff with the 8-foot strap. Now there's also trees maybe at your campsite, so you can do some stuff where you put it around the tree, and we can do pec stretches and stuff, especially if you are a biker. But you can see how you can make the loop, and then you can make the loop small. Make the loop small. We're going to do a little shoulder stretch. I'm going to move to the edge of my seat because I feel like I'm sitting too far back, and I want to be able to really sit up tall here because I'm trying to stretch my chest. So if you're sitting back in a chair, sit yourself up, kind of stick your tail out behind you, pretend you're a happy cat and your tail is in the air. Take the strap or the belt and put it behind you. It's a great one to do after you've been, I said, cycling. Okay, and then throw one over the shoulder, throw the other one over the shoulder, grab behind you, so grab those ends, and then cross them. So now there's an X in the middle of my back, okay? You can see it sliding off this shirt because it's third. Okay, so let me do it again. So it's underneath, try to make them even, Yep, and then throw it over the shoulder like a continental soldier, and then cross them. Okay, so I have one in each hand here, and then I'm going to pull. Okay, you can see how it kind of bisects diagonally across my shoulder, and I'm sitting nice and tall. And as I pull down and to the front, I get my chest to open up. There's another way to do this. This is the easier version of this. So nice and tall, sitting up nice and tall. You feel in this position, you can't really do this. This is not comfortable. So it makes you pull your head back so your head is on top of your spine. Your spine is really going through kind of the center of your head. It's not at the back. And then as we pull that in there, we can feel the stretch in the pecs, and we're getting extension in our upper back, which if we've been doing stuff all day, in flexion, we want to get this extension, all right, because you're going to be sore. And then when you get this here, your low back changes position too, and then your low back hurts. So people say, oh, my back hurts so much. I did a 5K, and I was, I walked it. I didn't even run. But when you're walking, again, you tend to go forward. So think about that. And then just release. Do it one more time. Get a nice big tug. Sitting up nice and tall. And you can feel how it makes you. You know when someone comes by you and pushes you in the middle of the back, that's what you do, right? This is not your ideal posture, okay? It's a more relaxed position. But here we're overthrowing this, spine. We're trying to make it go into big extension. And then just release and take that off. And just kind of feel how that feels. Like where did you feel it? Did you feel it in your pecs? Did you feel it mostly in your thoracic spine, in your upper back? Because it just depends where you're tight. If you're tight in your pecs, you're going to feel it here. If you're tight because you slouch all the time, not saying you slouch, but if you slouch all the time, you're going to feel it more in your upper back, okay? All right, let's go into the shoulders. Shoulders a ball and socket joint, and especially if you've been leaning on a bike, all right, you're jamming this humerus right into the joint all day, okay? In a narrow position, which is putting all the pressure on your rotator cuff tendons, which are right in here. Okay, so we want to open all this up and we want to have full range of motion. Your shoulder does this much motion all the way around. So take your strap and we're just going to lift and lower first. So you're going to lift and lower. And just feel the quality of the movement in your shoulder. Like it's a ball and socket. And it's a shiny, almost like a marbly looking, like a shiny marble in the socket. And then you have a little thing around there called the labrum, which is a little cup that holds the ball in the socket. Those can become torn with repetitive stress. Now, if you can, you can go all the way over, all the way around. This is a great one if you golf. So if you're a weekend golfer, we want to get the nice motion through the chest. Again, we're opening the chest up here. You'll notice throughout the stretches, there are a lot that open up your pecs, because this is one of the problem spots. If I had to give 3 problem spots for most people, it would be your hip flexors, your hamstrings, and your pecs. Okay? Because we sit and we slouch. Okay, so. And then just bring it around and just notice, how, which shoulder felt better. Did it feel, did you feel like you had to do like this to go around? So that could mean that's just a little tight through that capsule in the shoulder. And then we'd want to, make sure that we're doing this one on a regular basis. Put your strap aside. This one can be done anywhere. You don't need any tools. And the next thing, we're moving down the chain, you can see here. You can't, when people will say to me, what area should I work to get this? You can't isolate. The whole body works as a unit. All right, so even when we're doing flexibility, we're trying to get everything. Because if there's one little tight area somewhere, it's going to transfer force differently. Okay, so something's going to get stuck. All right, so let's go into the thoracic spine here. It moves, all right? You have your ribs attached to it, and there's little joints back there. So we're going to do what I call catch and throw. So first we're going to catch. A ball's coming at, we're going to pretend that this is our catcher's mitt, and we're going to catch the ball right in the middle of our chest. Am I losing my mic? Oh, I did. Okay, it's hanging there, but can you still hear me? All right, so we're going to catch the ball in the middle of our chest. And then release. Can you hear? Okay. Inhale. There's a lot of movement going on here. And exhale. Now, notice when you feel that, now that we have the actual choreography of this, don't move your low back. So just do it from your chest. Okay, so I'd let you feel that whole thing first. And then we will fine tune it. Then we narrow it in. So now you're just pulling the chest in and then release. Pull in and release. Now, if you can move easily, no problems. If it feels like it's hard for you to move there, you might have some stiffness in your upper back. If you're always sitting like this, again, form follows function, it's going to stiffen and the tissues are going to stiffen in that positioning. So now we're just trying to get those ribs to move. And why do ribs need to move? Because you got to breathe. And they move when you breathe. And if you're an athlete, even a weekend athlete, you need to have oxygen as you're moving. Okay, now, so the ball came out, we catch the ball. Now we're going to throw the ball. So this is our pickleball paddle, and we're going to throw and then just come back to neutral. So just chest out, chest in. It should feel like when we were doing the strap, how we got that extension just in the upper back. All right, so if you can keep your sit bones from feeling like they're shifting on the chair, that's a good thing. Now let's go from both extremes. All right, so let's throw the ball, catch the ball. just in the shoulders. You should start to feel some heat in the middle of your back. We're using middle traps and rhomboids here, so as we throw, here we're getting pecs. As we catch, we're stretching rhomboids, middle traps. And we're not just stretching the muscle, but whenever we're stretching muscle, we're stretching fascia, connective tissue. Bones don't move if the muscles are tight. So if you have stiffness, chances are your muscles are stiff too, okay? All right, now let's make this harder. So that's easy. You got that, you feel that a little bit. And sometimes you'll start to feel a little tension there, like a little bit of discomfort as you start to loosen up. Now we're gonna do what's called translation. We're gonna go side to side. So you're gonna feel like your ribs cage is on a table, and I'm just gonna push it to the side. And then you're gonna push it to the other side, all right? So feel the bottom of your ribs, take a nice big inhale, exhale, just glide your ribs to the right. It's not a huge movement, but can you do that without moving your low back or shifting like from one butt to the other? This one's a little bit more tricky. We need all of these different directional movements for sports and for activities, high adventure activities, because if you're limited in a certain motion, that's where you're going to get hurt. We have to have that whole flexibility. Thing is, you have to be like the guy at the car wash, that thing, whatever that's called, flipping around, okay? All right, now let's put it all together. So we're gonna do the throw, catch, and the glide. So I want you to just pretend there is a big barrel around you. You're gonna touch the front of the barrel, glide, touch the right side of the barrel, touch the back of the barrel, touch the other side, and then just repeat it. Now, when we first start this, I do it very segmental. So you throw, glide, catch, glide, throw. So it's very, you're thinking about each step. Once you get it, you're in the barrel, just scrape the whole inside of the barrel. Now these are moves if you are on a cycle, like cycling, and your road is bumpy and it's changing. These are things then, if this is moving fluidly, you're less likely to get movement stuck maybe in your low back or something. You're gonna adjust. Again, it's like your car, right? What's the thing? The shock absorbers, that's the thing. So you're gonna get better shock absorption through your body. And then try go the other way, because we don't just move in. There's gonna be one side that feels a little less smart. So you can see we're not doing anything that's super strenuous. These are little tiny movements because the deep movements in your body when you're doing a sport are really important. Obviously, if you're doing something out there and you're running and doing whatever you're doing, you've trained your big muscles to do it. But the big problem we see in therapy is that the small muscles haven't been prepared. And your movement and your strength comes from the inside out, not from the outside in. You need the structure, you need your foundation to be strong, you need the structure around your spine to be strong to be able to control that. And then the big muscles are like, okay, we're helping out. Okay? All right, so you got that going. Let's do a little spinal rotation since we're sitting in the chair, and then we're gonna come to the mat. So up nice and tall. Again, these kind of swoop back, so it kind of makes you wanna sit in that position, but sit more on the end, and then you're gonna twist. Put one hand on a knee, take the other hand, put it on the back of the chair, lift nice and tall. Take a big breath in once you get to that twist. So you're thinking of filling that twist with air. And as you exhale, see if you can go a little further. Now, this one, posture is super important. And it's because your spine, as it rotates, we want that force going up your spine like a candy cane stripe. So if you're crooked, as you're doing this, the movement's gonna stop somewhere in your spine. You all look good. Mm-hmm. All right, come back to center. This one, notice where you felt most of the stretch. Okay, could be in your low back, could be upper, could be in your neck. All right, let's go the other way. Just you, depends on you. You're all an individual fingerprint of your postures. Big inhale, exhale. And notice we started at the neck because as we're moving down, the head then is a participant in everything else that we've done already above. So it's all ready and prepped to do the move.
It makes you more aware of your proprioception.
It does. It makes you, and all of these things when we're stretching too can help with proprioception, which proprioception is knowing where your body is in space. And you better know where your body is in space if you're walking through the forest and you're going to step on rocks and little holes in the forest floor and all that kind of thing, so that you can adapt. And once we stretch the neck out, that really helps with that. And come back to center. Just take a breath. Okay, you're going to come down to your mat, so you're done with the chairs. So you're going to grab the tennis balls. Now, like I said, I put them in these little socks. I suggest if you're going to, you could take just one with you. We usually need two, though, if you're going to do your back. And this is great. The tennis balls are going to work more with the fascia and the muscle. So if you tend to get muscle spasms or trigger points, which are also muscle spasms, tennis balls are a great way. Do not use lacrosse balls. I'm looking right at the camera. Do not use lacrosse balls. They're too hard and you will get damage. So try to use something that's a little bit softer. You can buy massage balls that are soft. You go by what feels good for you to get a massage. These are old tennis balls. They're squishy, right? So they're not, going to hurt you. You're going to take the balls and I'm going to put them close together. This also allows you, with it being in the sock, to adjust where they are. So and they're not going to roll out. You're going to put it at the base of your head. Okay, so you're just going to lay down. Knees are going to be bent, because when we lay on our backs, we want our knees to be bent so that we keep our low back in good position. When we straighten our legs, we tend to arch our back too much, and then that's uncomfortable. Okay? So it's going to be right at the base of your head. Chin's going to drop down a little bit because of that, and it's going to cause you to stretch out the base of your neck. Now, we worked on rotation already, and we worked on our side bending of our neck, but we didn't work on the deep muscles at the base of the skull. And those can become very tight with long, repetitive motions. So we're going to do just a little nod up and down. Notice if you feel when you're doing this that there's maybe some radiation of some pain, or you feel like, ooh, that's a tight spot. If you've ever been for massage and they dig in underneath at the base of your head, sometimes they can shoot pain to the top of your head, into the jaw, into your eye. That's all okay. Those are the suboccipital muscles. They're very small and tiny, and they can become very they can come to spasm very easily because of overuse. All right? And then you're just going to look from side to side. So you're going to feel like you roll to one ball and then roll to the other ball. Okay, so I'm just doing a little side-to-side movement. So you're going to feel pressure on the right side of your skull, base of the skull, and then on the left side. And you're breathing. If you feel the need to do a big exhale, that is good. Make sure that you let that happen. That's your body releasing tension. If you feel like you want to yawn, let yourself yawn. Okay, and then just take the balls out, put your head on the ground. If you're laying down and you feel that your chin is higher than your forehead, then you need to put your little towel roll under the base of your head or tuck your chin more so that you feel like your head's in line with your spine. If your chin is higher than your forehead, you probably have a forward head. That's going to be the second one on that handout that I gave, the second picture with the forward head and the rounded upper back. Then this is something we need to work on stretching out to get that in better alignment. All right, take the balls, make them a little farther apart, okay? And we're going to move them down to the top of our shoulders. All right, now where they're going to be is right if someone came and put their hands on your shoulders like they were going to do massage, and where their thumbs would rest, that's where the balls are going to be. So you might have to, fidget around a bit. You'll feel some pressure there, and then you'll know if they're in the right spot if you raise your arms up and you feel more pressure. So the arms are going to reach to the ceiling, and then we're going to do a little choo-choo arm. So the arms are going to go up and down and around, and you're going to feel those balls dig into the upper traps. Now, this one, if you're carrying a backpack or if you're on a bike, this is going to feel really good because you've used your upper traps to stabilize you when you're holding the backpack or when you are resting your hands on handlebars. All right, and then just notice what you feel there. Is it tender? Is one side more tender than the other? Are you hitting a trigger point? You'll know because it's the spot that hurts so good. You'll be like, oh, that's it. That's the spot. And you know that if you've gotten massages before, They usually hit a spot and you're like, yeah, that's it. Okay? And then just lift up, take the balls out. Feel how the shoulders feel. Okay, take a big breath in. Anybody notice how that felt? Like how those muscles felt through there? Okay, I gotta get my list here. I have a list. All right, now we're gonna go into more the spine now. So stay there on your backs, and we're gonna do what we call a peeling bridge. When you're doing all of these activities, you have to have, your spine has to move like a pearl necklace. So it has to be flexible. Each pearl has to move independently. You can't have a bunch stuck together, all right? Or you're gonna have more pressure than above and below. So if you've had a spinal fusion or something like that, that area is stuck, more movement's gonna go here, more movement's gonna go down here. So those areas are gonna take the stress. So we wanna have the whole spine be fluid. So again, you're laying on your back with your knees bent, arms are down by your sides. You're gonna take a nice big breath in. And as you exhale, you're gonna tuck your tailbone off the mat and then peel your spine all the way up till the front of your hips open up and your pelvis is all the way off the ground. Take a nice big inhale there. And then exhale, lay your spine down one vertebra at a time. Now here's the test. Can you reverse the movement that you went up? Can you come down in reverse with one vertebra at a time, lifting? So think of if your back was taped to the ground and we're peeling it up from the tailbone up. So take an inhale, exhale, tuck that tailbone under, feel your low back press into the mat. As you roll through your low back, then you feel your bottom rib lift, then you come all the way up to your shoulders. Your shoulders are wide open, you feel pressure there, and you feel the front of your hips open up. Take an inhale there at the top, and then exhale, melting it down. One vertebra at a time. Roll through the low back. That's usually the problem spot. If you were bent over a bike all day, that low back can become stiff, and you may feel that tension there. So we want to really be able to move or roll through it, okay? So again, peeling bridge is a great one. We do that one on the foam roller as well. If you have foam rollers, you can try that. It's very apparent. You can really feel it really good on the foam roller. Now, from here, just go into a pelvic tuck. So kind of smoosh your low back into the mat and then release. So we went through the whole spine. Now we're just going to go right to the lumbar spine because we already did our upper back with our little swirly, in the barrel movement. So press that low back into the floor and then release. All right, so that is a nice, what I call a 9-1-1 exercise. So if, say, at the end of your day, that back is really hurting you, you're someone that has a bulging disc, and you're feeling the tension here, this would be one. Lay down, do some gentle pelvic tilts and get that circulation going, get that movement to happen again, and things usually start to kind of come around. And it also signals to the brain, everything's okay, and we can continue on with our day tomorrow and hopefully, not have any pain. All right, from this position, since we're here and our back is already calm, okay, you're gonna grab your strap, we're using it nice and long, and we're gonna do a hamstring stretch here. Okay, we're gonna do it two ways because hamstrings, if you're hiking or you're biking, you're using your hamstrings, okay? So if you have back pain, this is the position that I would say to do your hamstring stretch in, okay? So you're laying on your back, straps over the ball of the foot, and then just hold a strap in each hand. Don't hold it together because you're gonna tend to round your upper shoulders. This keeps you a nice open chest, all right? And then what you want is you want to flex your foot and have your knee straight and have your foot directly over your hip. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, you're gonna be like this, probably, okay? It's hard for you to straighten it, and you're gonna feel some strain, all right? So what you have to do is lower the leg down until it goes straight, and this is gonna tell you then how short or long your hamstrings are. If you can get to 90, that's what we're always going for men and women. Men tend to be tighter in hamstrings than women, so usually you guys are about down here. And then, of course, if you're really flexible, you can come in even further. But we really want to have that foot flexed. You're going to get your calf muscle in there as well. And if you're walking, you need to stretch your calf muscle out at the end of the day. This is one nice big exhales. The other thing that's good about this move for this hamstring is we have the leg up in the air, so our blood vessels get a little rest. Okay, so if you had pooling in your legs because you're really using them really hard and you got a lot of blood flow through there, it's a nice way to get some relief. And then we're going to go into the outer part of the leg here called the IT band. And then all you're going to do is let that leg just fall across the body. Okay, so I'm holding the strap. I just let my leg go. Let it go across. My whole pelvis is not coming off the floor. And you're wherever you can. If you are tight hamstrings, you're going to be down here. Still, foot is flexed, but you want to try to get to 90 degrees. That's your goal. So if you have tight hamstrings, I'm telling you, you got to do it every day for a good 8 weeks. Then you'll start to see change. Now from here, if you were, say you were walking and hiking, there's a muscle on the outside of your shin that really needs a stretch. Some muscles are called the peroneals. What I want you to do in this position is turn the sole of your foot up like you're going to look at the bottom of your shoe. And you're going to feel the outside of your calf get a nice big stretch. Do you feel it? Yeah. That one's tight, especially if you've been walking, because that's adapting all the time. And if that's too tight, you're more likely to sprain your ankle. And you don't want to sprain your ankle if you're out in the middle of the forest and be stuck. All right, bring it back up to the ceiling so you're nice and straight. And then just let the leg fall open, and we're going to do the inner thigh. So you can see this is a nice kind of recovery stretch. If you've been on your feet all day, you're laying down, you know, hopefully you get a camping mat or whatever, or you got home or you're back at the hotel. But put a towel down on the floor at the hotel. And then just feel the weight of the leg kind of fall into the strap. So let it go. Don't be guarding. Just let the inner thigh relax. And again, nice big breaths. And then bring it back up. And of course, we're going to switch legs. Now, that other leg, I don't know if I didn't say this, but you could see it. My other leg is straight. All right, we're going for this 90-degree angle here as we stretch. All right, already, you guys are going to sleep really good tonight because this is stretching before you go to bed is very calming. You get your muscles at a nice resting length, and then you go to sleep. You're going to sleep really good. Nice flexion of the foot, so toes pulled towards the nose, and you're anywhere where you can be with your hamstring. Again, the way you test is if your knee is bent when you get here and you can't straighten it, go until you can straighten your knee. That's where you're going to stay. If it starts to loosen up, you can pull up into it a little bit more, take up the slack. Other leg is just laying there on the floor. Notice which side's tighter. Hamstrings are sisters, just like the glutes. You got one on each side, and they're not the same all the time. So one can be tighter, and that's going to throw you off as far as you won't be balanced. You have an asymmetry, so muscles the need to contract hopefully the same on each side. Let's let that leg fall across the body for our IT band. That's the iliotibial band, if I didn't mention that. It goes from your ilium, which is the top of your hip, to the outside of your lower leg, the tibia. It's very fibrous, very thick. Looks like the shiny tendon on the outside of a pork tenderloin, if you're wondering what that looks like. If you ever did any grilling. And then getting those peroneal muscles on the outside of your shin, just turn the sole of the foot up like you're going to look for gum on the bottom of your shoe. And again, nice exhales. Let the muscles release their tension. We hold emotion in our tension, or in our fascia and in our muscles. Stress. You know, if you're stressed, your muscles tend to be tighter. We hold trauma in our muscles. And then bring it back up. You can straighten the foot up and then let the leg fall out open to the side. Your goal on this one for the inner thigh is to come to 90 degrees, meaning your foot is in line with your hip here and you're opened up. So you went from this 90 degrees up to this 90 degrees open. And just let the weight of the leg fall into the strap. Obviously your hands are working a little bit here to hold that strap and the weight of your leg, but I do these flexibility classes online on Fridays at 10, so if anybody's interested in that. I have my social media stuff there on the counter. You can take a screenshot of it and then bring it back up. And then just put your strap aside and bring your knees into your chest. You can cross your ankles if you want, or have your ankles lined up, and just open up that low back. Now one thing, because if you're cycling and you're using your glutes and hamstrings quite a bit, we want to get into a muscle called the piriformis, which is in the middle of the butt. It's a hip rotator. And you're going to cross and put your legs in the figure 4 position. So right ankle on left knee. Okay, so you're going to do that. You can do the sitting in the chair as well. And then you're just going to put your hands, kind of thread them through, grab behind your thigh, and pull your knee into your chest. Now, one fun thing that you can do here, I guess if you want to call it fun, is my elbow is on this knee, and I'm pushing that knee away. I'm going to exaggerate it so you can see. All right, but you just want to have, and you'll get a better stretch in through the glute. Now, if you have sciatica, this is a great one to do. Sciatica is a symptom, not a diagnosis. So if you have sciatica, you need to find out what's causing it. But if you're getting that pain in the middle of the butt, or you worked your hip rotators really hard hiking, this is a great one to do. All right, and then lower that down. Let's switch legs, other side, thread it through. Again, your elbow you can use as leverage to push that knee so it lines up with your ankle, and then the knee comes as close into the chest as you can get it. And you can feel how you're getting that stretch, right in the middle of your butt. I mean, it's so good. And you're sitting on your butt all day. So it is a good stretch. But sitting, actually causes weakness in the glutes. So if you're sitting and smushing on the glutes all day, you can get what we call sleepy glutes. And sometimes that piriformis can get a little spasmy and stuff, so this is good to do, but you should always be working your glutes, keep them strong. They're a big powerhouse, help with your core strength as well. Release that. Just give your pelvis like a little shake. Just release those muscles, let it kind of come back to, we've stretched them to smithereens. Now you want to just let them come back to their resting position, just give a little jiggle. And then, just to protect your back, say if your back is hurting from your day's work, roll to the side and then push up with your hands to come up. That way it's kind of an effortless way. Now I'm going to show you one other way to stretch your hamstrings. So say you can't lay down, but you can sit down somewhere, or you could sit on top of a picnic table or something, wherever you're at. I'm envisioning you guys doing all these crazy things out in the woods. Okay, so, all right. So you're going to sit up nice and tall. Now,
getting a lot of ranger reports.
Yes, people out there. It's me. I know. So you're sitting up nice and tall, and you want to feel your sit bones. So if you have tight hamstrings, this is hard for you guys. So go grab your butt, pull it out of the way, and sit back down. And it kind of moves some of the tissue out so you get a little bit more grip into the floor. If you need to, keep your knee bent just a little bit if it's bothering your back. Otherwise, strap goes over the ball of the foot. Now, if you had back pain, I said it was a good one to do on your back, but if you're sitting up right here and your back is okay, you can sit up like this and do it. This is better than standing. So be up nice and tall. Use the strap to leverage your chest and lift it up nice and tall. And then the only thing that's going to move is at the hip joint, so you're going to tip forward. Now, when you go forward, don't move your head. So this is the door, this is your hinge, and just tip from the hip. You feel the difference? So chest is lifted, tail sticking out behind you. Breath. We're not going to stretch too long because we already did the hamstring, but just to give you an idea of the difference and how it feels. So many different types of stretches. You do have to kind of make your own menu on what's best for you and what you feel like you get the best stretches. I like the one laying on my back. My favorite is legs up the wall, but out in the forest or out in the wilderness, you don't have that option usually. I don't know, I'm trying to think. Your trailer maybe? Yeah, up against your trailer, up against the door. And then again, you just tip from the hip. So that we're getting that pull of the hamstring underneath, all right? And then you hold for, 30 to, especially hamstrings, 30 seconds is your minimum. We're not doing that tonight, but hold for 30 seconds. And then release. Now we have one more thing to do, and that's going to be with your tennis balls. So, 80% of the population has back pain, 80%. So that's a big number. And, everybody's always trying to work out and to try and keep back pain at bay. And muscle tightness and spasm is a huge part of that. So we're going to use these. We're going to be about this width apart, or depending on how large or wide your back is. And you're going to lay on your back, lift up into a bridge, and put the balls right above your pelvic crest. So the hip bones that you feel, all right, there, so kind of feel where the top of your pelvis is. And it's right about, now I had them too far out, so I got to bring them in. It should feel like you're laying over a little hill, because you kind of are. Okay. They're digging into a muscle called the QL, the quadratus lumborum. It's a big quadratus-shaped muscle on each side of your back. And it tends to get spasm if we're overusing it. There's also a very thick band of fascia back there, the thoracolumbar fascia, and that gets tight from overuse or repetitive stress, and this is a great way to relieve that. All right, notice what you feel. Just breathe. And now what I want you to do is your pelvic tucks. So you're going to lift your butt up off the floor and then place it back down. So you're going to smush into the balls and then release the pressure by dropping your tail back down. All right, so think of I'm squeezing the sponge, releasing the sponge, squeezing the sponge, releasing the sponge. So we're going to get hydration into that connective tissue fascia, the muscles that may be overworked all day. There's lactic acid buildup in there from overuse. And then you're going to go to bed and you're going to recover and you're going to feel good. And you're going to drink lots of water after your day of doing your activities. And then lift up, move the balls down now to right below that pelvic crest. You're on your booty. So you're going to feel your glutes.
Good evening, patrons. The time is 7:30. You have 20 minutes to complete and save your
Okay. This is our last one, I promise. Okay.
All meeting rooms and study rooms should be vacated by 7:45. Thank you.
Just feel yourself settle into the balls. All right, this one can be a little ouchy because your glutes work really hard. And it's very fibrous. We're muscles attached to bones. Just take a breath. And the same thing, we're going to do some little pelvic tucks here, just kind of squishing into the muscle and releasing. You can do a little shift from side to side. So go from the right to the left. The balls just roll across the top of the glutes. And again, when you are using glutes all day with cycling or hiking or jogging or doing a marathon, whatever you're doing, those glutes they're really overworked. And so it's really nice to give them some love at the end of the day. And then just lift up, take the balls out. Notice how your pelvis feels on the mat. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. And now you're ready for bed. So anyway, you can stay there and enjoy that. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you at least got some fun tips that you can use on the go. Again, these don't take up much space, or you can get some massage balls. They sell them everywhere, any place around town. And then a yoga strap that's 8 feet long, roll it up, or get a really big belt. You can use a rope, stuff like that, whatever you got. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, we can talk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.